From the East and the West, you've heard others, but now you've tuned into the best. This is a Prime Wave Media production.
The one and only Pop DBICD Primetime Capper, and it is time for the premier sports betting show. And I'm feeling good. I'm feeling great. I hope you are feeling the same. And this is the PrimeTimeAngles, and you know it's Friday. So today we got to go ahead and we have our we have our guest, but really not a guest. I always feel like Jeff is more of a co-host, friend of the show. You know, so we a guest might come see you once in a while. This guy, I try to have at least one conversation with him a week on this show Fridays. I know that we have been lagging on it for a while, but we're back to that now. So we weren't able to get in yesterday on Jeff's show, but you know, we knew we had Friday. So let me stop talking and let me bring in the guy that y'all have been anticipating all week, and that's none other than the Don of Cape Cod himself, Mr. Jeff Dawson. What's going on, brother? How's everything going?
Happy Friday. Yes, that's kind of the I think a good thing that we have going here is the fact that I try to get you on Thursdays, and we're trying to get back to myself coming on regularly here on Fridays. So if life gets busy, or should I say Cape Cod and traffic and all that other stuff gets busy, at least one of the 2 days we will be together. So blessed and honored as always, Pops, to be a part of.
Hey, man, you know, I always love having you on the show with me, man, because I know that we're going to be talking about some rocking stuff. Let's go ahead and jump into NBA Summer League Day 1. What do you expect today?
Good question. I mean, I'm following social media. I'm following, some of the people that I follow and respect, checking out the games, checking out the movements, and there's been some few moves here and there on the spreads and stuff. Obviously, Wembayama's debut. OKC the favorite to win the summer league. So I'm anticipating some fun. A couple of years ago, I was out there watching a few of the games, as you and I talked backstage, with the potential, if I do head out to Vegas on Sunday, to sneak out and catch a couple games. If I do, maybe I can reach out live to you. Last time I was there, good friend and colleague Sham stopped by, and we talked for a few minutes. So it's always, there's a lot of stars out there, not including the NBA, young players that are getting ready to get ready for their first debut in season with the NBA. But I'm excited, Pups.
Well, you know, it's always a great fun thing when it comes down to the summer league. The summer league, I was out there a few summers ago as well too. Summer league was huge. It's 2018 to be exact, and it was a huge time. It was a lot of things going on, but that wasn't like the biggest draft year. But I know 2017 was a year to remember, and it's coming up with the same hype as 2017 that they did with Lonzo Ball and the Lakers. Now it's going to be Wemby and the Spurs. And the Spurs already do have some big-time players and everything like that playing with them right now. So pretty much you do have a very good situation going on for the fans, because they get to see a guy that they feel is larger than life and is going to be something that's going to be a asset to the NBA from here on forward. So, you know, it's a good time to go ahead and see what the goods are, who he truly is. But at the end of the day, it's all evaluation. And really, this is the NBA's version of the winter meetings, pretty much. This is not even the basketball games are just merely distractions. At the end of the day, these GMs and these scouts and all these people are meeting up because they're meeting up talking about moving players. And since we're talking about moving players, where we know Dame is going to Miami, but do you feel like he's putting the Blazers in a bad position right now? And do you think that this is one of the more selfish moves the guy could ever do?
1000%. And it's funny because contractually, if they were to move him anywhere else but Miami, now it's coming out that he's just not going to show. It's almost like a holdout, which, all right, you're not going to show them, fine. I mean, you're not going to get paid either. I mean, by him forcing the deal to Miami, Miami doesn't have the assets, let's say, a Boston does. The Celtics can give him Jaylen Brown. We got boatloads of picks. We got other players there. Pritchard. I don't think they would give up Jaylen Brown and obviously the Time Lord. But my point is, when you pigeonhole yourself into one team and demand a trade, and this is the only place I'm going to go, it's like you grabbing your ball and just saying, I quit, And it's funny that you're talking about Dame, because I was reaching out to a local before I got on the show here, because the Celtics quietly have been tied to Atlanta and the ice tray. And I asked him if the Brogdon deal for Porzingis didn't fall, and the fact that we had to move Smart in, because I think Smart was going in another trade. My question to him was, if the Brogdon for KP went through, was Smart and other players going to be a part of the trade deal in Atlanta? Because Atlanta's quietly trying to move Trey. And of course, Dame's getting all the hype right now on this move. So I wanted to add that to your show there too, because Brad's quietly adding all these picks and assets, and it sounds like there's a big deal to be made still here. And I don't know if it's the Celtics with cold feet not wanting to give Jaylen Brown that money, because once he signs the deal, he's got to play the whole year this year, and then he can pull a Dame and says, I want out. I want to go to Houston, with Ime or whatever it may be. So Dame's holding up the process, but I think there's some big moves still to be made, Pops.
Well, yeah, I'm with you on that, Jeff, because I feel like, guys like Dame Lillard and everything like that, you pretty much have went ahead and you established yourself as a great scorer, but that doesn't necessarily mean that you get the shot call and tell these teams what they can and can't do. And the thing is, Dame Lillard has to understand that the Portland Trailblazers took a lot of risk bringing him in. It worked, but it was questioned, very questioned. And, I feel like a big reason why people really like Curry really sells well to the public, to the mainstream public, is because Curry's a team player. Curry's taking pay cuts. He's done all that stuff to make sure that the Warriors could be on that next level. You've never seen Dame Lillard do that. Dame Lillard and his selfishness pushed out LaMarcus Aldridge, it pushed out McCallum, it pushed out so many guys that could have helped him get to the next level. And he always makes it look like, oh man, I'm a good guy, I'm a good dude, I'm a good da. No, you're trying to sit on $60 million a year and just make money in the NBA. You're not trying to win any championships. Nobody, if you were trying to win championships, you would say to yourself, I don't need to jack up 33s a game. And when you play like the way he plays, I don't think he cares about anything but getting paid and looking good, and then he can go tweet about it later on.
And
everything's for a social media moment.
And the funny thing with Dame is he's never won a championship. I think he's won 2 first rounds, if I'm not mistaken. I'm not saying he's not a good player, but now he's getting paid $60 million a year, and he's demanded Miami. And another reason he wants to go to Miami, other than playing obviously with Bam and with Butler, is the fact there's no state tax. So he's going to be making even more. He's going to be able to keep all that money as it is. So he's being even more selfish. So it's comical, Pops. It's comical, but that's the game now. Looking at the offseason and these guys making hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars, and you break it down on a game-to-game situation, couple $100,000 a game, $500,000 a game, ad load management. I mean, and I said this week, Pops. I said on the tweet, well, if Dame's worth $60 million a year, then Shitani's Shohei's worth $100 million. He plays 162 games. He pitches every fifth day, and on his off days, he plays the field and he bats. So the NBA is, as you have said and I've said, the money has gotten out of control. It's just the monies that these guys are making and demanding. Larry, Magic, and the rest of them are just rolling over. They're sick. Why couldn't I be playing in this era versus 30 years ago?
And you know what? The biggest difference between guys from 30, 40 years ago, you could tell they love the game. These guys now, they love the game until they get paid. And once they get paid, then they start becoming this big pop culture figure. It's all about the tweets. It's all about the engagement. It's all about all that stuff. You know what I mean? It's all about what you watching on TV tonight, all that good stuff. And I always keep telling myself, all the players who do not win do that. All of them. Just like when I watch baseball and guys have these celebratory things going on in the dugout, look where all those teams are at right now. Just go ahead and look at where they're all at in the standings. All the good teams, they just go over, high five, do a little goofy sign, sit down. All the bad teams, they got a dance move, a backflip, and then they got a chain or a stupid hat or something of that nature. And it's just, what the hell are we doing here? You're still losing by 6 runs, bro. Like, no. If I want to go to the Harlem, if I want to sign up for the Harlem Globetrotters, I'll go do that. But I'm trying to watch professional sports.
And I've said this for a while, and it's 100% true, is these NBA players, which I call divas, they worry more about their sneaker deal, their music deal, their 2K ratings. Am I close enough to LA or New York so I can do movies and radio? Not radio, but I can do my singing or whatever some of these guys are doing. It's not about the banners. It's not about chasing 18 at the Garden. It's not about bleeding green. That is all gone. The NBA right now is just pay me, make sure I get my Supermax. Where can I get the most money? I mean, Jaylen Brown is going to be paid $63 million a year because he made an all NBA team. And it wasn't the first, he made the second. And it was, as long as he made 1, 2, or 3, he was going to then be awarded this money. And it's a shame. It's an absolute shame where the game has gone. It's not pass the ball 5, 6 times. It's isolate, launch at 3, 3-on-1 breaks, and they're launching threes, driving to the rim, and then kicking it out for a 3. It's just, I hate to say it, it's almost unwatchable sometimes, Pops.
I got you. All right. Well, real quick, who do you have winning the Summer League? Who has the best value to you? And who's the MVP of this Summer League?
Well, I was reading, and this makes the most sense. You want to dig deep into some of these teams that have the second-year players, the Chet Holmgrens of the world. And I know there's a whole new crowd coming in there, but dig deep. Who is the one that has the most second-year players? And again, I think OKC, the fact is that last year they played great. They were very profitable for us. I know they're the favorite. Someone's going to come out of nowhere. But if I would still think there's value, Pops, at OKC and 7-1. That's my take there.
All right. I like it. And you know what? I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to actually take the Houston Rockets to go ahead and win it because Amen Thompson, I feel like, is going to have himself an explosive summer right now. And I think that he's going to have to show out a little bit to show the Houston Brass that he's ready to take over nowish. You know what I mean? So we'll see. And then I also have my eye out on Brandon Miller as well, too. I think Brandon Miller could be a guy that could win the MVP, but he can show us his whole tool bag as well, too, because I keep going back to my notes and everything like that, and I keep putting him as my rookie of the year next year coming up. I feel like he's going to have the best situation where he's going to be able to exploit that situation with a LaMelo Ball, who's looking to have a second fiddle or have a guy that's a scorer with them, and they're both young guns. It's going to be a lot of fun. So we'll see how it goes, and we'll see how it shakes out. All right. So let's move on to some NFL. You know, Ed, that's why everybody tuned in today, because they know that that's the NFL maestro. And you know what? A lot of you guys say that you're the fantasy gurus and all that good stuff, but my guy right here is an absolute legend in the fantasy game, and like literally a real legend in the fantasy game. Like he's actually won real tournaments, not your little $100 buy-in, you know, whatever. He had the tournament where literally like it's cutthroat. You don't even talk to the other team owners in the league. You know what I mean? And when you make a trade, the trade really means something. It just ain't you, I'm losing the season, so I'm gonna give up guys. No. These guys play, he won back to back. So he knows what he's talking about when it comes to fantasy. So whenever you guys ask fantasy questions, Jeff is about 2 steps ahead of whoever's writing up those rankings and things of that nature.
Yeah, 2017, 2 national titles at the NFFC. They're in their 20th year this year. We were the first person ever to win 2 tournaments. One, we beat out 600 teams. That was 14 team leagues there. Won the league, and then a 3-week race there. And the other one was the online championship, where 12 team divisions, and we beat out over 2,600 teams. Staring at the check right now, $195,100 for those 2. And if we did that this year, it would be worth well over $500,000 for with all the bonuses and the increases in first prizes. So you know, we got our projections. We're doing our work as we speak. I enjoy reading a lot social media, so I can make notes, highlight. You know, there's some guys that are already being steamed. The Jamar Gibbs of the world in Detroit. Obviously, Mr. Bijan in Atlanta, he's a first rounder. The quarterbacks are getting pushed up already. It's going to be fun. You know, is Rodgers going to be engaged? You know, he's got a great wide receiver with Wilson there. He's in a tough division. You know, it'll be interesting opening game against Buffalo. So a lot of things to happen. Still, Mahomes, other than Kels, your buddy Mahomes, other than Kels, you know, he's got a bunch of, I don't want to say no-name wide receivers, but he doesn't have a Tyreek Hill on the other side. And obviously we know about Burrow, Chase, and Higgins. So it's going to be fun, Pops.
All right. So let's go ahead and talk about the AFC West, since you want to bring up your boy Pat Mahomes and all that good stuff. You know what I mean? And do you feel like they may be a little comfortable right now? They've been in 3 Super Bowls in the last 4 years. They've won 2 of them in that time as well too. Do you feel like they could possibly be saying to themselves that, you know, this might be the hangover season and we might have to tread it back just a little bit?
They, you know, especially comparing the real NFL to fantasy, Travis Kelce is a separator. And he is, other than Gronk, I guess, and we go way back to Kellen Winslow and a few other, you know, Tony Gonzalez of the world. Kelce is a beast. They were able to get away from Tyreek Hill because they have Travis Kelce, and it's plug and play at the wide receivers over there. With that said, I still think they're the team to beat. I'm not buying all the Kool-Aid in Denver. I think Russell will have a better year. They have a great coach now there, but I think there's going to be some growing pains amongst that team. I think the addition of some Pirine with Javonte Williams injury will be big there. But the team that's flying under the radar is your Chargers. Is the fact that Justin Herbert, if you look at the MVP for the year, he is sitting in between the Mahomes, Hurts of the world, and then after him at 9-1 is the Lamar Jacksons, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Austin Eckler back. They added the TCU wide receiver. Yes, there are other wide receivers, Keenan Allen and Mr. Williams, who's always injured, are getting a little long in the tooth. We know about their defense. If I had to pick one team to dethrone Kansas City, it would be the Chargers. I think the Raiders are going to be an absolute mess this year. Signing Jimmy G. Is he going to play? Is he not going to play? Disgruntled Josh Jacobs, disgruntled Devontae Adams. I think they will be the cellar dwellers. But for me, KC doesn't have to win this division. No one wants to play them in the playoffs. I got KC 1A and then Chargers 1B with the Broncos third and the Raiders far, far below.
Well, you know what? I'll be honest with you. And you always say my Chargers. That cracks me up because it's not my team, but that's fine. Because the Chargers, I've came to very much respect exactly what they're on. And I know you probably watched my show yesterday. That's why you brought it up. And I'm very heavy ho on the Chargers as well, too. But, Jeff, if I have to pick a team in L.A. this year, it will be the Chargers because the Chargers just – the Chargers, they don't force themselves upon the city of Los Angeles like the Rams do. The Rams, we always are like, well, we were here 50 years ago and we were the Hollywood team and blah, 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 da, 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 da. But, the Raiders in their little 10-year run really dwarfed whatever the Rams did in Los Angeles. So pretty much you have a Kansas City team that's going to, of course, be the perennial favorite. We know that's going to happen. That's no doubt about it, that they are the perennial favorite. Everybody, kumbaya, bow to my Lord, the hell of the Chiefs, right? But I feel like you got a coach that's a year older. You got a guy who's settled down. He's not doing too much fun stuff like commercials and things like that, but he's still doing a lot of things where you have a lot of engagements and a lot of obligations to do right now. And I've been seeing a lot of drinking going on at those obligations as well too. So I don't know how that's going to really gauge anything for me moving forward. I know it doesn't mean anything now, but when guys come in a little overweight, guys come in a little lackadaisical, just know why. You know what I mean? But I feel like this year with Mahomes and crew, they're going to tune it up a little bit harder with him game in and game out. They've established themselves as the team to beat in the NFL. So teams know that when they beat up on the Chiefs on Sunday, if they can go ahead and do that they will be in the spotlight for weeks. And you might be getting yourself some big money too after the fact. Because it's always you dominating one of the better teams in the NFL that gets a lot of these guys paid. So I truly feel like players are not going to have the whole tap you on the butt. Thanks. Hey, buddy, how you doing? Like they do with Tom Brady. I think that they're really out there. They're really going to go out there and try to hurt Mahomes next season. You know what I mean? Because they want to make sure that he understands that, it's been fun, but we trying to win as well too. And Brady, it took a long. Hey, you know what I'm talking about? By the time Brady got to the 5th, 6th season, guys didn't care no more. They were trying to kill Brady, and that's how he tore his leg as well too. You know what I mean? And I think we're at that point now. But Mahomes does a good job of not talking trash. So that's where he kind of wins at because he kind of kills him with kindness. But this year, I feel like the defenses in the AFC West ain't gonna fall for that. Raiders probably, because they'll fall for anything. We saw what happened in the game in Vegas last year. So I think the Chiefs still are the team, but I don't think that they are a lock at all. And if they struggle this year, I won't be surprised. Nobody should be surprised because this is a year after the year that they were supposed to be kind of falling off. And usually it does take about a year because everybody everything's still fresh. But I want to see how they are year 2 without Tyreek Hill. That's what I really want to see. No more Mecole Hardman as well either. He was supposed to be the replacement for Tyreek Hill. And Kelsey is another guy who's been doing a lot of fun stuff. And I just hope that he'll still be in shape to be able to be a really good player this year. You know what I mean? And hopefully he can come to camp and be good to go. But when I look at the teams that are gonna compete, I'm with you, Jeff. The Chargers just have that look to them that they're going to be on Kansas City's tail all season, if not ahead of them. And they already know how to go win in Kansas City. They already know how to win the tough games. And if you come with the NFL Super Bowl dark horse right now, it's the Chargers. Let's all keep it real. They got the quarterback, they got the receivers, they got the versatile running back, they got the defensive ends, they got the signature defensive back, who the star position on that side. So the Chargers have a lot of things working for them. And let's keep it real, Jeff. They have a better roster than Kansas City if we look up everything today. Let's keep it real. But the thing is, where Kansas City beats them at is they have the better coach. That's where Kansas City just can really outthink everybody. They got Andy Reid. Andy Reid is an exceptional coach. He's one of the greatest coaches of all time. I won't put him in the top 10, but he's one of the greatest coaches of all time. And I feel like they're going to overhype Denver. It's not that Russell's going to get better this year. It's just going to be now he ain't got no excuses. It's that simple. Now you really got to step it up because Sean Payton, they're not going to scapegoat Sean Payton like they scapegoat the coach last year. They're going to put everything on you, buddy. So you're going to have to step it up. And I think him being a year older is not going to be helpful for him at the end of the day. And then the Raiders are an absolute joke. Their coach has turned them into pretty much unnecessary roughness at the end of the day. You know what I mean? You got Jimmy G over here. He ain't worried about nothing but what's going on over at the Sapphire and the Hustler Club. You know, that's what's on his mind. Jacobs is probably not going to be with the Raiders by the time we get to training camp because knowing Josh McDaniels, he's going to say, let me go ahead and get some picks. Let me go ahead and get some value for him. We don't pay running backs, even though he's the one that damn near put us in the playoffs last year. And I'm going to do him just like I did Derek Carr. Yeah, okay. And then Devontae will be gone as well, too, by midseason. Because he already, you know, Devontae's playing it cool, but he likes the money he makes with them at this moment. And he likes the little privileges that you get down there in Vegas, but that's going to wear off pretty soon. And then after that, you know, Max Crosby's too busy trying to be the mayor of Las Vegas. So they're in trouble, like big trouble. You know what I mean? And it's going to be really funny when you see exactly how much love these Vegas people truly have for the Raiders. You know what I mean? I know that they're still going to be having sellouts and everything like that. But you know what? You can't bank on that for the next 10 years, in my opinion. You know what I mean? Because at some point, you know that everybody ain't going to be able to afford to just come to Vegas, especially if you like, I would say, like the Indianapolis Colts or something like that, or some team. And I know everybody said, well, they came. And look, man, they give away free tickets all the time. And so people show up when things are free. You know what I mean? I don't think anybody really went over there and paid for tickets. So, you know, they did, but Jeff, you know, to make it right, they'll hand over 10,000. They'll hand over a quick 1,500 tickets to the hotels, and they'll spread them out with employees. So, you know, that's how I'm seeing it, and I really do feel like this is supposed to be the Chargers' year. It's a make or break year for the Chargers, and that's really what it is. Keenan Allen, he's on the verge. Mike Williams, the guys have to show the front office, are they worth the price of admission? Pretty much everybody's contract got turned into bonuses who were on deals that possibly could have got restructured and re-upped and things like that. So I know they're preparing for the big moment with Herbert to go ahead and pay him out. You know what I mean? But they want to make sure that they really are paying for a great quarterback and can he lead this team? And this is the year. There's no more, you know, oh, he's a rookie. Oh, it's only his second year. Oh, the coach did this, that, and the third. Nah, the fourth year is on Herbert now. He's already established himself. He has to step it up and take it to the next level because at the end of the day, you got to stop looking at the sideline and thinking that these coaches are going to be the ones that are going to get you to the end goal. It's going to be you and the other 11 guys that are rolling with you right now, or the other 10 guys. I'm sorry, because that would be illegal. That would be illegal if they had 11 more guys. But Yeah, that's where I see it at, and I think that Herbert has to have one of those seasons this year. He has to put it in his mind that I want to win the MVP, but I want to win the AFC West first. And I think that's a great mentality to have. Get the AFC West first. And I think once you knock out this Goliath of the Kansas City Chiefs, then it's going to give you the confidence to really move in these playoffs. And I like that 25-1, Jeff. I'm telling you. I'm telling
Well,
you, good number.
well, and the fact is, don't forget that the biggest piece that they added in the offseason was Kellen Moore. So he's now going to have one of the best OCs in the game to lean on. He doesn't have to worry about his coach, his head coach, yada, yada, yada. And again, health will be a big importance, that offensive line to keep Herbert upright. Number one, I mean, Keenan Allen and Big Mike, they got to stay healthy, and obviously Austin Eckler has to as well. And on the defensive side, you know, the Boses of the world and the other pass rushers have to stay healthy. And it always seems every time these guys get into camp and then the preseason games, their corners are getting injured, yada, yada, yada. So again, I can see through the tea leaves. It's the Chargers division to it. As much as, listen, Kansas City is the team to beat, no doubt about it. But on a put it this way, on a neutral field right now, I'd probably have the Chiefs 2.5, maybe 2.5. Maybe Vegas would have 3.5-point favorites against the Chargers. It's not a big hill to climb, and if they stay healthy with all the pieces, I think they will be the last man standing in that division this year.
All right. You heard it from the man himself. You heard it from Jeff, you know, and Jeff is ready to go ahead. And Jeff got some. I'm going to just copycat whatever team Jeff is going to take this year. But I'm playing a tough league, though, I feel like, because I think everybody kind of thinks with the same brain. So you got to get these guys quickly. Last year, I went and got the quarterback first. I didn't go with the old adage of getting the running back first round and all that stuff, because I said that's a dumb mentality. You go after the best player on the board, bro, like any functional team does. And then, you know, if you were fortunate like me to where you're a late picker, then you get the early pick in the next round. So then you get to really spoil everybody's fun when you can snatch Devontae Adams early in the second round. You know what I mean? So it is what it is. I'm still surprised Devontae didn't go first because he was playing with his college quarterback. And literally, you guys can see from game one, it was going to be Devontae and some more Devontae with Derek Carr. All right, let's talk about some college football because I can see it in Jeff's eyes that he was ready to talk some college football. I even brought it up on Twitter yesterday. I said, I can't wait to talk about Florida State with Jeff. So here we are, Florida State. Where do you put them at? Do you feel like, okay, I'll go ahead and read my caption. Is FSU ready to be an elite power in the CFB again? Can they win it all this year? What do you think, Jeff?
Are they ready to be on the same stage as Clemson? Well, that obviously comes down to a quarterback. I mean, we know to beat Clemson, you got to be able to score. But are they finally going to find a Deshaun Watson? Are they going to find a Trevor Lawrence? Okay, that's been their kryptonite. I go back to opening game last year, FSU at LSU, and I was at the Aria Sportsbook watching that game, and missed extra point to tie the game and to bring it to overtime. And they play them again this year. I think right off the rip, right, Pops? First game, FSU LSU again. And if that's the case, I think LSU is that one team not called Bama that could dethrone Georgia. So how about this? Are they ready? On paper, yes. Yes, they are. But can they withstand an opening day loss to LSU? Because there'll be some revenge there. So I like where your eyes are. I think they're great. I remember the Bobby Bowden days. I can't wait to see them back on the big stage. Rumor has it, that's a couple years away from prime time, maybe making an appearance down there. So are they ready? Yes. Can they win it all? If they beat LSU, Pops, how's that? Is that fair enough?
Well, LSU, that will be a good start. I talked about LSU yesterday. I think that this is Brian Kelly's best. It's not his best moment to win a national championship, but it would be pretty cool to see him go ahead and figure out a way to beat both Georgia and Alabama this year. But see, you got a good point, Jeff. You know that FSU, if they lose to LSU, they'll probably already be taking them out of the equation when it comes to winning their national title this year. But if they beat LSU, it's going to put them up 3 echelons, and they could afford a loss during the season because they beat LSU. You know what I mean? But aren't we rolling into the top 8 now?
No, next year we get 12.
Okay.
So I'll go right now. The September 3rd, I had an opening number LSU -3. I'm seeing a 55.5, so they're expecting some scoring. Obviously, first 1 to 30 wins this game. It's got that 30-27 feeling, and it is on a neutral site. Do you know where they're playing that, Pops? Is it back? It says neutral.
I would think that it's probably going to be in New Orleans again, or possibly would be in Atlanta.
Yeah, that would be my 2 guess. I
think the only way you could make it truly a neutral game is if you played it somewhere like in California. You know what I mean? So you know that you ain't go just one-sided the way that they plan on one-siding it, you know?
Now, my guess is probably Atlanta or New Orleans, but, close enough for both, fan bases to travel there. But the opening line is LSU 3. I do have a 2.5 at Caesars in New Jersey, and FanDuel in Pennsylvania, and DraftKings 2.5. So there is some money coming in on Florida State. It's going to be one hell of a game.
And do you feel that the Florida and Miami games will be even bigger if we can get a really good FSU team, knowing that those used to be must-see TV games? Do you think that we could get that this season with Florida State being an elite team?
Yes, 100%. We're trying to bring back the good old days. And again, Miami, whole new coaching staff last year, and they showed the old flash and fade. They ran out of gas. Florida, I don't have a lot of work done yet on Florida. I have mixed reviews on them as I speak. I mean, the SEC is so loaded as we speak. So, I mean, between those 3 teams, Florida State, in my eyes, obviously the team to beat between the Miami and the Floridas. They will win the state this year, and UCF has moved on to a bigger conference as well. So it should be Florida State's state this year. I think they'll do well. It kind of sucks is the fact that the first game of the year is going to tell a lot for a team like Florida State. With a loss, they're going to have to cheat and to get into that ACC title game to have a chance to get into the big dance. But a win, the winner of that game goes a long, long way. LSU can afford to lose that game because, you got the Bamas, you got the Georgias still on your schedule. So, but you just can't have the hiccups with the smaller teams. So the game is a lot bigger for Florida State, and LSU will have all the hype leading up into that game, Pops.
All right, beautiful stuff. I feel like Florida State can be one of those teams going into next season. I actually do have them coming back and winning the ACC this year because you don't really have much in the ACC anymore. And I think that the whole Clemson situation got kind of broken a little bit, you know what I mean, over the last few years. And I think that Clemson is still a pretty cool team, but they're not those killers that we came accustomed to anymore. I think they went back to being exactly who Clemson truly is. You know what I mean? Good defensive team with some playmakers and pretty good at getting guys to the NFL, but that doesn't equate to consistent winning. I think that they had some of the best groups that he ever recruited, and he was able to keep those guys for 6-7 years at the school, and so they were able to win a lot of games. It's that simple. You know what I mean? So with that, we're going to go ahead and take a quick commercial break. Now, Jeff, do you have any time to go ahead and talk with us about big Reds and Brewers series coming up this weekend?
I can talk with that series, and then I'll move on to the 4:00 show.
And don't even worry. I'm going to skip ahead because that's not even the first thing I talk about with baseball, but I'll skip ahead and make sure that we can talk about it, okay?
You got it.
All right, I totally appreciate you for that. So we'll be back in one moment, and when we get back, we'll be talking some baseball. So stay tuned. This is the premier sports betting show, the Primetime Angles, with the one and only Pop DiBiase, the Primetime Capper.
Good News Only Racing Club, led by the legendary Doug O'Neill, the trainer of 2 Kentucky Derby winners and I'll Have Another and Nyquist. Also trained 2-time Breeders' Cup champ Golden Sense, who are just a part of a long list of thoroughbred champions trained by Doug O'Neill. The Good News Only Racing Club has a young core of horses to look out for in Dennis's Celery, Irish Heatwave, and Notre Dame, just to name a few. Win the day every day with the Good News Only Racing Club, a proud sponsor of the NFL Bet Exchange.
From the East and the West, you've heard others, but now you've tuned into the best. This is a Prime Wave Media production.
Tune into Big Wave Boxing every week with a brand new guest with the one and only Pop DiBiase, the Primetime Capper, getting the best boxing stories, best boxing angles, and the truth when it all comes down to the sweet science. Tune in to Big Wave Boxing on the Prime Wave Media channel on YouTube.
All right, we are back with the premier sports betting show, the Primetime Angles, with the one and only Pop DiBiase, the Primetime Capper, and the Don of Cape Cod, Mr. Jeff Dawson. So let's go ahead and jump into the biggest series of the weekend right now. Everybody is feeling like it's 1990 all over again, and it's the Reds and the Brewers. So pretty much everybody's in a frenzy right now. Somebody even told me that they're the most electric lineup in baseball. I said, I literally laughed, Jeff. Like, seriously, like, all right, but I've been watching them since day one. They're a really good team. But what has happened as of late, they lost who I feel is their most significant player. Delhi is cool. It's great. It's reminds me of Puig when he came up to the Dodgers. You know what I mean? It's just exciting. I know. But their consistent young player is hurt, and that's Hunter Green. And Hunter Green is a big factor in how this pitching rotation works, in my opinion. I feel like he's made them to where they had became a team that had 3 really good starters and then 2 okay starters. And that's what you need in the MLB to consistently keep winning baseball games. I feel like they took advantage of a bad division, which they did. We both know this too, Jeff. And pretty much what they did was they find themselves in first place. But does that necessarily mean they're the best team in the Central? Your thoughts?
You know, it's that new shiny toy, Pops. And listen, Cruz has just been worth the price of admission. The Reds in the upcoming years are definitely going to be fun to watch. The big red machine is back. Hunter Green, the Lodolos of the world, you know, Votto playing out his last year potentially, but they got youth, and more youth. But as you and I both know, it's pitching that wins in the long game. And what's going to happen here, unfortunately, is at the All-Star break, and then, you know, you're at the halfway point, those dog days of summer, of late July, August, and then the calendar goes to September 1st, and you're looking at your back end and you're looking at your arms, and this guy hasn't pitched over 120 innings and he's at 135. And, you know, what do we do? And so they are in a division that is right there for them. The Cards can't get out of their own way. The Cubs keep hanging around. I keep waiting for the Cardinals to make that big move. They're done. The Cardinals are done. The Brewers have the arms, but, you know, like a game today, you know, you got one of your studs with Corbin Burns at home, and it's basically a pick 'em against the young up-and-coming Mr. Abbott, who's been absolutely lights out. My overnight number was Cincinnati minus 115. Right now it's circa, it's the Brewers minus 107. Christian Yelich having an MVP type season, the resurgence or emergence of him. I just, if you got it 2, 3, 4 weeks ago at 10, 15, 20 to 1 to win the division, God bless you. Would I be running to the window at, plus 180 or whatever? No, I wouldn't. I think when the dust settles, unless the Cardinals fire their manager and they get that 12-1 run, it's going to be between the Brewers and the Cubs, believe it or not, who are just hanging around there as well. So I like the story. They're fun. Could they win 2 out of 3 this weekend? Absolutely. Will they? I don't know. But the next couple years is where the Reds will shine.
Well, you know me, I just know how baseball works, and I don't want to be the burden of bad news, but I just know that this next 6 weeks is the most important 6 weeks that the Reds have had in the last 10, that the Reds have had in 20 years. Okay. And I think that the Brewers know that they've been here, done that the last decade. We both know this. And I know everybody always wants to write off the Brewers, but the Brewers always have some of the best players in baseball. So we're not going to sit here and play that game because the Brewers are one of the better teams after the All-Star break as well too. And the way that their schedule sets up, it sets up just like the Reds' schedule. The Reds were a team that profited off of bad teams. They won 5 in a row. They swept the Nats. Like, seriously, that's not the most electric team in baseball. They swept one of the worst teams in baseball. Like, what are we talking about? Seriously. So I might be like this because I'm heavy on the Brewers winning the division. I've said this since 30 teams in 30 days. And when I did my review of the Central, that the division was going to be horrible. Everybody might be in first place at one point. Everybody might have an idea of being in first place at one point. But it's going to wind up being the Brewers at the end of the day, in my opinion. I just think they'll outlast everybody. And I feel like that point is proven. Yeah, because they've been sitting in second place. They had to sit behind the Pirates for a moment there. They had to sit, I think they even had to sit a day behind the Cubs, possibly. But, what's you call it? It doesn't matter. They've been in first place several times this year as well, too. So this weekend is very important towards the next step. You know what I mean? So we'll see how it goes. It's going to be a great series this weekend.
I agree. It's going to be fun. Must watch TV. The Reds again, Cruz and company, worth the price of admission, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, they are. So Jeff did us the favor. He has another show in about 8 minutes, so I know he wants to prepare for that. I'm going to let him go ahead and prepare for that. Jeff, I thank you so much for coming in today. Hopefully next Thursday, if everything goes well, I'll be on his show, and then next Friday he'll be back on this show. So it sounds good to me, and I think if he's down, we'll probably start doing the NFL bet exchange early, where we're breaking down the bets and things like that. Odds and divisions and stuff like that, but division by division, team by team. You know what I mean? So then we don't have to do a 3.5 hour special about it. We'll just do a weekly, over the next few weeks or so. So that's going to be a lot of fun. So you guys make sure to tune in so we can be all the way prepared for once we get to the NFL bet exchange and the NFL season and all that good stuff. Have you guys all the way geared up. You know what I mean? So, Jeff, thank you so much. You have a beautiful day. And I'm going to go ahead and continue the show.
Have a good weekend. Thank you so much, and we'll be in touch.
All right, sir. All right, we have that. And Jeff, thank you so much for joining the show with us today. Let's go ahead and jump into the Dodgers and the Angels. Blue Crew daily. Dodgers now have a game out and looking to take back over first place before the All-Star break. Start 2-gamer in Anaheim. Well, no, not in Anaheim. It's going to be at the Ravine. Sorry about that. So it's going to be at the Ravine. And they will be playing against the Angels. It's not at the Angels, they're versus the Angels. So pretty much that's that. And we do have ourselves a very good series here because you have a Dodgers team that's looking to continue to try to get themselves back into the You got a team that's looking to get themselves back into the mix. And pretty much that's what you have right now with the Dodgers, is that this team is right where they want to be at. I told my man Mike on the show yesterday, on his show, that the Dodgers aren't worried about anything. This is exactly where they want to be. They were never the team that was panicking. It was always going to be on the zone of the panic. You know what I mean? And now Carroll got hurt last night. Things are starting to come in. Now things are starting to fall into place. Dodgers find themselves leaving the Giants right where they're at. You know, Giants have been struggling a lot lately, losing their last 7 out of 10. So there's a lot of things that are working out for the Dodgers to get them to the point. The Dodgers, as I kept trying to explain to everybody, they're the most consistent team in the National League West. So even if they lose and even if they struggle a little bit, they're going to figure out ways to win, and they're going to figure out ways to stay in contention. And that's exactly what they did. Now they're about to pounce and take over first place and probably win this division by 10 games. So the Dodgers tonight want to go ahead and try to get themselves in the motion of having some good mojo before they go into the All-Star break. They get the fortunate situation of actually having Sunday off. The Dodgers and Angels got Sunday off. They don't have to play. They're not playing Sunday. So they actually get an extra day. All-Star festivities start on Monday. Dodgers will come back around. They got a series on Thursday. So there's a lot of things that the Dodgers are going to be doing in the next few days, but everybody gets a rest except for 5 guys. You know, Kershaw is not going to pitch. Mookie's going to play. Mookie's starting. Freddie's starting. JD Martinez is going to probably be somebody they bring in throughout the game. And who else is going to be in this as well, too? I think they had a 5th. Trying to remember. Oh, yeah, Will Smith. Will Smith isn't starting catcher, but he'll be in there at some point in the game. So pretty much the Dodgers tonight, I feel like what they can do is they can go ahead and they'll probably have a pretty good pitcher's duel. So we'll see how it goes. We'll see how it shakes out. But I really do feel like we're going to have ourselves a great game between these two freeway rivals. And it's going to be a sellout because Angels fans show up for these Dodger games. Dodger fans show up for these Angel games. So it's going to be awesome. It's going to be a great look. And I look forward to it. So MLB Friday night, we got a full schedule as usual because it's Friday night. And so pretty much we got some of the best games going tonight as well, too. Up first, we got the Braves and the Rays. Braves and the Rays, this is going to be a pretty good series this weekend. This is between the best 2 teams in all of baseball. You got the best team, best record in the National League going against the best record in the AL. So pretty much we get to settle who's going to have the best record going into the All-Star break this weekend. That's absolutely incredible. So we know if the Rays win the series, it'll be a tie if they win 2 out of 3. If the Rays sweep, they'll go right back ahead. Now, if the Braves win, they'll be the number 1 team in all of the major leagues. But do you really want to be in this cherry spot at the first half of the season, or do you want to be in this cherry spot at the second half of the season? That's the biggest question that we do have. Now, the Braves are continuing their run this year of being a pretty damn good team. The Rays, on the other hand, though, when you look at it, that this team started off 13-0, just look at this. They've went 44-33 since that point. So they're not world beaters as much as we thought they would be. Now they're struggling this month as well, too. You have to understand they've lost their first 6 games of the month. All right, they got swept by the Phillies. That was something that nobody saw coming. So the Rays are kind of dealing with a situation that says that they possibly might have hit the wall, but I don't want to be like that. But they're not that far off. They're not that far ahead of the Orioles. And as you keep seeing, the Yankees are a 10-win streak away from being right at the top of the AL East. You know, it's like they've been salivating for something like that as of late. So with that, tonight, if you need to play for this one, sign up, be a client, because this is actually a premium. So I don't have a winner for you here, but I will go ahead and say that I do have the series prices for you guys. So I have a series winner for you, and I think the series winner, and it will show up in a second, will be the Rays this weekend, to be honest with you, because the Rays have stepped it up and they played so well in these matchups against some of the top tier teams in the National League. All right, so we move forward. Let's go ahead and jump into the Orioles and the Twins. This is going to be another really fun game. You have the Orioles trying to stay right there on the bumper of the Rays, and you have the Twins trying to keep themselves in at the top of the mountain when it comes to the AL Central. You know, you got to hold off Cleveland, and Cleveland's Cleveland seem to have a pretty easy weekend this weekend coming up too. They're going against Kansas City of all teams. So tonight you have Bailey Ober on the mound for Minnesota. You got Cole Irvin on the mound for the Orioles. So this is a decent pitching matchup. But I truly do feel tonight this is going to be the spot where we have to go ahead and say, all right, let's go ahead and trust a trusted dog. I'm going to take the Orioles tonight as my dog bet of the day, bet US. And you guys will see that it's going to be plus 125 once we get to those tickets. So there it is. Orioles 51-35 taking on the Twins 45-43. Should be a great game. Orioles, let's get this one home. So let's go ahead and check out Talking Tickets. And with Talking Tickets today, we got ourselves, we got a lot of bets going on today with Talking Tickets. So up first, let's go ahead and jump into the WNBA. The WNBA, what do we have going here? We got 4 games going tonight in WNBA. We got 13-1 ticket here, single what you like. And we got 3.5 on the Mystics. We have the Dream with money line plus 100. They're a road team tonight. We also have the Wings going against the Vegas girls tonight at home. Got them with the plus 8.5 tonight. And then we're going to do the over 162.5 in Minnesota tonight with the Mercury and the Lynx. So this will be a 13-1 ticket. All right, we move forward. Let's go ahead and talk about the MLB Series Bets that I was just talking about. We got the Rays plus 115 to beat the Braves this weekend. I got the Phillies minus 135 to go ahead and get themselves a good win this weekend in a really, really tough series as well, too. But Philly should be good because they are red hot right now. And then you got the Orioles plus 135. I got them getting the upset this weekend over the Twins. And then I got the Brewers winning that series against the Reds as well, too, with the minus 135. And then we got a good old Mafia game with the Southside guys going against the St. Louis boys. And that's none other than the White Sox and the Cards. And I'm going to take the road team Cards to actually win this series. So with that, that's going to be our group for our MLB Series Bets for this weekend. All right, now we have ourselves the PrimeTime PK6. 67-1 ticket. We have the Phillies tonight, minus 135 money line. Let's see how that goes. Let's see how it checks out. We have the Yankees tonight. I have them winning by 2 or more runs with the plus 125. Also, the over 10 with the Rangers and the Nats. I expect a firefight in D.C. tonight. And then with the A's, we have the plus 1.5, plus 105. And we all know that the A's are a big, big dog today. So don't be shy on taking that 200 money line. All right, we got the Orioles plus 125. This should be good, and it's going to be our dog of the day. And then we have the under 7.5 with the Reds and the Brewers. This is the series of the weekend, and this is the game of the day. I expect pitching on both sides tonight. You got Abbott and Burns going at it, so I expect a pitcher's duel to happen here in Milwaukee tonight. And then we have ourselves the late pick 4. We got a 17-1 ticket here with the under 8 Padres Mets, and then we have the 1.5 Diamondbacks plus 105, and then we also have the over 9 Angels Dodgers, and then we close up with the Rockies tonight as another dog with the plus 140, and this is going to give us a 17-1 ticket. So with that, I want to thank you guys very much for tuning into today's show. And as I always say, bet with your head, not with your heart. The movement is moving. And this is the premier sports betting show, the Primetime Angles, with the one and only Pop DiBiase, the Primetime Capper, and I am gone.
From the East and the West, you've heard others, but now you've tuned into the best. This is a Prime Wave Media production.